Hey everybody, it's Gypsy. Today, as you can see, the big guys over here, we're stuck inside. We're having a really bad storm. Hail, wind, rain. I thought it was slowing down, so I started my video. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Anyways, I figured since we have to stay inside, I would show you guys how I make my pie crust. Now the next video, this is just a pie crust video. The next video that's coming out will be how I make my apple pie. It isn't really a recipe. This is the way my family's been doing it for generations. But I'll show you how I do it. So anyways, let's get started. I hope you can hear me okay. So what I have done is, in a bowl, I put 2 cups of flour plus 2 tablespoons, and then a teaspoon of salt, and I mix that up. Now, the next part is you want to put in your fats. If you're going to use vegetable shortening, do not use an off-brand. It won't come out flaky. Use Crisco. It's the only one I found that works. Now, getting more vicious out there. It just ebbs and flows. This time, and this is the first time I'm doing it, I'm using just straight lard, good old-fashioned lard. You could also use butter. Butter especially, you want to make sure it's really cold when you do it, okay? Now what I did with my lard is I put it in the freezer for a little bit to make sure it's, a little colder. So, what you want to do for your fats is put in 2/3 of a cup. Okay, so I'm just gonna scoop out my lard. Also, this is the first time I'm making a pie crust in the Southwest. It's usually arid, but obviously today it's not. Sounds like there's getting to be more hail. So, it's the first time in a different climate. Last time I made it, I lived in Northeast Ohio. It always came out perfect. I always used Crisco back then. This is my first time using lard. So we'll see how it turns out. The bottom of the cup's nice and cold. And it only takes a few minutes in my freezer at least to get really cold. So you're going to want to scoop this into your flour. Now, if you have a pastry blender, which I don't have one anymore. I lost it somewhere along the line. My mother had given it to me because I make so many pies. I don't know where it went. It's probably under my kitchen slide out. If you ever get an RV with slide outs, make sure the slide out is never the kitchen. Very bad idea. So anyways, since I don't have a pastry blender anymore, I am going to use 2 butter knives. So what you're doing is you want to cut your fats, your shortening, lard, butter, whatever, into your flour. So, how I do this, I really can't show you, but I'm going to be cutting the lard into the flour. And I'm going to do this. One of the tricks to getting your pie crust flaky is making sure you can get your lard cut into the flour as finely as possible. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. I wish I had a better setup for my camera so you could see exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, I wish I had somebody here to at least hold it up so you can see. But I am just kind of like you're cutting meat with 2 knives. And you're just going to keep doing this and doing this until it's like little pebbles. Okay? So, wow. Oop, look at that, it stopped. I should have waited a little longer. Sorry about all the noise. It's Mother Nature for you. When you live in nature, that's what happens. I'm going to be doing this for a while because to me, I'm very picky about my pie crust. So I'm going to make sure this lard is cut into my flour really well. So I'm going to put you on hold for a moment. When we come back, you'll see how much to cut it in. And I do recommend a pastry blender. I need to get another one, especially since I'm going to start building my kitchen soon. And I'll be doing even more baking. I'll go back to all my baking and stuff I used to do, so I have to have that kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, everyone, my wheat has started popping up, my winter wheat. So So I ordered myself, you know I don't have electricity. I ordered myself a hand grain mill. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I'll show you guys when it comes in. So anyways, I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, everyone. So this is what it looks like after I'm done cutting it in. Now my only concern with this is it seems awfully soft. My lard softened more quickly. So I hope it's not too soft. So what I do next, because I like my crust really, really flaky. What I do next is I've had this bowl of ice water here. Now, 1 tablespoon at a time, I'm going to put in my flour mixture. It takes about 6 to 8 tablespoons. Now, back in Ohio, I had it down pat. Yeah, I think it was 5.5. You use as little water as possible with this. Okay, so you may not even use the 6 tablespoons, depending on your climate. Yeah, back in Ohio, you didn't need much. So what I do is 1 at a time. So I just take a tablespoon and I'll put it like over here. Then what I do is I take a fork, and I want to use a fork because I don't want it getting all mushed, really mushy. And I just get that area of the water in here. Okay. And then I'll take my next one, and I'll keep track of how many you're putting in, because you don't want it to be more than 6 or more than 6 to 8. And I'll put it over here, and I just mix it in there. Okay, and you just want to keep mixing it around because you want to keep track of how your dough is coming together, because you don't want it coming together too much that it just ends up being a bowl of mushy dough, because you want it dry as possible. Okay, so I just keep doing this. Now this recipe that I'm doing is for a double pie crust, top and bottom. If you want a single one, you just cut the ingredients in half, that's all. Now baking all depends on the type of pie you're going to be making. If you are making a cream pie, like chocolate cream or something like that, more than likely you're using a single pie crust, and you're going to bake that before you add in your filling. And you would do that according to the recipe you're using. What you want to also do is put in pie weights or dry beans. Oh, this is very soft, so I'm going to be using a lot less water than I normally do. Yeah, in fact, what was that, 2? Yeah, it might be less. So, let me see. Yeah, let me see how. So what I do is I like to mush it together to see how it's forming. Now it's starting to form. I might need maybe 1 or 2 more, so it'd probably be more like 5. Now during the summer, if I make this, I'm probably going to be needing to use more water, like before, when it's not monsoon season or not a day like today. It's very, very dry here. I might use the entire 8, but today looks like it's going to be less. So that was 2. Yeah, I'm doing, okay, this is my 3rd one. I'm going to put that over here. Take my fork, mix it in. Okay. Want to keep everything nice and light. You do want it to come together eventually, but not too much. So my tricks for keeping it flaky is, everything nice and cold. And my first step really is cutting in your fats as finely as possible. Okay. So, eventually it's going to start forming. Okay? So I'm going to put you on hold again. You can see how it comes together, okay? So that was 3. I'll let you know how many tablespoons it took. Okay, everyone, so it is so wet today that the weather, I only used 3 tablespoons, and it came together, okay? Now, when I'm rolling it out, if I find it's too dry, I might add a little bit of water. But again, to get ultimate flakiness, you don't want too much. So what I've done is I've cut my dough in half, put it in round balls, 2, one for the top crust, 1 for the bottom, wrapped it in parchment paper. This is going in the refrigerator for, I don't know, half an hour to an hour before I roll it out. Colder it is, the better. So the next step is rolling it out. Everyone, so my pie crust is in the freezer. I have bread rising, so I'm going to bake that first. So what I do when I roll mine out is I like to put them between tea towels. Or you can put them between, put your dough between 2 pieces of wax paper or parchment paper to roll them out. All you do is take your rolling pin and you roll it out to the size of your pie plate. So that's all there is to it, and you bake it according to whatever type of pie you're making. So we're going to be doing apple. I'm going to end this video here, and the next video will be about my apple pie. So I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.